clear your throat for me? Go on. That little reflex you do without thinking, the one you have done a dozen times already today, in the car, at the table, in the quiet middle of a sentence. You have stopped hearing yourself do it. But you hear the cough, the dry, nagging tickle of a cough that has been riding around in your chest so long you have honestly forgotten what your throat felt like before it. You have had it checked. Of course you have. And you went home with the same word every time. Clear. Here is the strange part, the part that brought you to this video. Every test that came back clear was aimed at your lungs. Not one of them was ever aimed 2 inches lower, at the one place this cough was coming from. There was a man I want you to keep in your mind for the next 20 minutes. A man in his 60s, retired, never smoked a cigarette in his life. He carried a dry cough around for 2 years. 2 years. He got the inhaler for what they figured was a touch of asthma. He got the allergy pills. He got the chest film. And it came back clean the way they all did. And he still cleared his throat through every dinner and woke himself coughing at 2 in the morning. Everybody he saw answered the lungs. His body had been knocking on a different door the whole time, one floor down, the one nobody ever opened. By the end of this, you are going to know the 3 signs that tell you which door your own cough is knocking on, and the one question that finally gets the right one opened. My name is Dr. Marcus Riordan, 30 years a lung doctor, the one they send you to when the cough will not quit, and nobody can say why. And I am going to be straight with you before we take another step, because it matters more than anything else I will say today. A cough that has hung on longer than 8 weeks always deserves a real look from a real doctor. Most of the time the lung work is the right place to start, and most of the time the cough turns out to be something ordinary. But a few signs mean you skip the waiting entirely, coughing up any blood at all. Losing weight you did not mean to lose, drenching night sweats, a fever that will not break, shortness of breath, or food that catches when you swallow. If that is you, you do not wait, and you do not watch a video. You get seen soon. This is a reason to ask sharper questions, never a reason to sit home and guess. So with that floor under us, here is what started turning it around for that man, and for a lot of people like him. There is a whole family of cough that does not come from the lungs at all. It comes from reflux, from the stomach sending its contents back up the wrong way, far enough to irritate the throat and the voice box, or just far enough to trip a nerve. And the engine behind a great deal of that reflux, especially after 50, is a small, common, almost boring piece of anatomy called a hiatal hernia. Roughly half of everyone over 50 has one. The Cleveland Clinic says it plainly on their own pages. By 60 it is closer to 6 in 10, and it climbs every decade you live. So this is no rare zebra of a diagnosis. It is sitting quietly inside an enormous room of people who have been told their cough is a mystery, and the whole hidden map of it, the muscle, the valve, the nerve, the reason a cough lands one floor below where everyone keeps looking, never fits inside a 15-minute appointment. So a while back I finally pulled all of it into one place, every claim dated to a real source. Keep that in the back of your mind. Near the end I will tell you precisely where to put your hands on it. Here is the wiring, because the wiring is the whole story. Your diaphragm, that big dome of muscle under your lungs, has a small opening in the middle of it, where the tube from your throat passes down to your stomach. That opening has a name, the esophageal hiatus, and you only need to hear it once. The rim of muscle around it is supposed to act like a second valve, hugging the top of your stomach, helping keep what is in there down where it belongs. A hiatal hernia is just the top of the stomach sliding up through that opening into the chest where it does not belong. And when it does, that second valve loosens its grip, and the gate that should hold the line does not hold as well anymore. Now watch what that loose gate does, because reflux gets to your cough by 2 completely different roads, and almost nobody is told about the second one. The first road is the one you would guess. Stomach contents creep up high enough to reach the back of your throat and your voice box. They irritate it, and your body coughs to protect the airway. Doctors call that laryngopharyngeal reflux, and the everyday name for it is silent reflux. Hold on to that word silent, because it is about to do a lot of work. The second road is the one that fools everybody. The lower part of that food tube is laced with branches of the vagus nerve, the big wandering nerve that quietly runs so much of your body. When acid touches the lower esophagus, it can fire that nerve, and the nerve fires a cough reflex, and nothing ever reaches your throat at all. The cough comes from a reflex, not a splash. And that is the same nerve that threads right through the diaphragm. The muscle, the valve, and the nerve are all one neighborhood, and the cough is the sound of that neighborhood arguing. I want to walk you through how this shows up, the 3 signs, and I am going to do it the honest way. For each one, the everyday version that is almost certainly nothing comes first, then the version worth bringing to a doctor, because most of the time it is the everyday version. The whole skill is knowing when it is not. The first sign is the one that hides the whole thing, and it is an absence rather than a symptom, a cough that comes with no heartburn at all. You would think a reflux cough would announce itself with a burning chest, the way the commercials show it. But here is what catches everyone, and it traces straight to that silent reflux we just named. Among people whose cough is being driven by silent reflux, most have never had classic heartburn in their lives. The acid is irritating the throat, or tripping that nerve without ever lighting the fire you would recognize. So the everyday version, the one that is nothing, is plain. Plenty of people cough now and then with no heartburn, and it means nothing. A dry winter, a tickle, a cleared throat, and on with your day. The version worth checking is the lingering one. If your cough has outlasted every inhaler and every allergy pill, and you have honestly never been a heartburn person, that exact pairing is what should make a good doctor lean in, because the missing heartburn is the very reason your cough got filed under asthma or allergy or just a bug that never left. The clue this time is the thing that is not there, and the next sign tells you when to listen for it. The second sign is about timing, and the timing is almost too simple to believe. The cough gets worse when you lie down, worse at night, worse in the small hours, worse the moment your head hits the pillow, and often worst of all in the first hour after you wake. The mechanism is plain gravity. Stand up, and gravity helps keep your stomach contents down. Lie flat, and you have taken gravity off the table. And with that gate already loosened by the hernia, what is in the stomach has an easier path back up toward the throat and that nerve. So the everyday version, the harmless one, is the cough from a cold draft or a dry bedroom, the one a glass of water settles. The version worth checking is the positional one, the cough that clusters at night and on waking, and eases once you have been upright a while. That pattern points away from your lungs and toward your anatomy, because a lung cough does not care which way you are lying. There are fair things to ask your own doctor about here, the kind of thing a good one would echo, like not eating right before bed, or whether raising the head of the bed makes sense for you. But you ask, you do not prescribe it to yourself off a video, and you never stop anything your doctor already has you on. The pattern is the message, the fix is a conversation, and the third sign tells you where on the body to look for the rest of the evidence. The third sign is about the company the cough keeps. A reflux cough almost never travels alone, and it does not travel with the lungs. It travels with the throat and the voice. Chronic throat clearing, the constant little ahem you have stopped hearing yourself do. A hoarseness that comes and goes, a voice that tires or roughens after you have been talking a while. And that maddening feeling of a lump in the throat, like something is sitting there you cannot swallow away, when nothing is there at all. That cluster, the throat clearing and the hoarseness and the lump, is the calling card of silent reflux. Among the people who turn out to have it, hoarseness is nearly universal. So the everyday version is the morning throat clear, the rasp after a long phone call, the things any of us get. The version worth checking is the cluster that stays, week after week, riding alongside a cough that will not quit, because these symptoms live in the throat, in the voice, not in the chest, which is the very reason a lung workup keeps coming back clean. The cough is keeping company with your throat, and the throat is downstream of a valve in your diaphragm. That is the tell. And once you have all 3 signs in front of you, here is how to put them to work tonight. So before we go any further, do one small, gentle thing right now, and it is not a test you pass or fail, just a moment of paying attention. The next time you catch yourself coughing or clearing your throat this evening, notice one thing. Where were you, and what had you just done? Were you lying down, Had you just eaten? Was it the moment you got into bed? Just notice it, and keep a little note by the bed for a few nights, the time and the position and whether food came before it. Same caution as always. If anything frightens you, if you cannot catch your breath, you stop and you call for help. But that little log is worth more in an exam room than 10 vague descriptions, because it turns a feeling into a pattern someone can act on. There is one more thing I owe you before we go on, because it is what makes this video worth trusting instead of just worth clicking. A long cough is usually one of these ordinary things, reflux high among them. But once in a great while, a stubborn cough is the first sign of something serious. On rare occasions, a large hiatal hernia has even been the thing masking a more sinister diagnosis behind it. There is a published case of exactly that. I tell you this not to frighten you, but for the opposite reason. The doctor who says get the cough properly checked is the one you can trust. The test that rules out the scary things first is the one that earns you the right to go looking calmly at the valve one floor down. For that man with the 2-year cough, the first thing a good doctor did was rule out the frightening possibilities. Only once those were clear did the question nobody had asked finally get its turn. If you have been told everything is normal and you still know in your own body that something is not, then you are in the right place. This is the whole reason this channel exists. Subscribe, and we will keep looking exactly where the standard workup does not. Now that map I mentioned, everything I have been walking you through, the silent reflux, the hernia, the nerve that coughs without a splash, the questions that get a real workup, never fits inside a rushed appointment. So I set it all down, in plain English, every claim dated to a real source, and built it into a small library called the Forgotten Muscle Library. One volume in it is built for the night you are having. It is called The Crossed Wires. It has a Chapter 1 wish I could hand to every person with a mystery cough, the one on the gut, on that cruel rim of muscle wrapping the top of your stomach, on reflux and the diaphragm, the mechanism laid bare, and the honest line printed right beside it, that this is awareness, and you keep taking what your doctor prescribed. That single guide is $29.99. Now think about what a misfiled cough cost you on the other path. The specialist you wait weeks for, then the next specialist, then the scope, then the follow-up, copay stacked on copay. And at the end you can still walk out the door with the same word, normal. One of those rushed 15-minute visits costs more than all 3 of my guides put together, and these you keep, and these you carry into your own doctor's office. So if you want the whole picture, take the complete library, all 3 guides plus the 2 printable kits, the 1-page body map, and the exact question sheet you bring to the appointment. It is $49.99. That is $157 off the $207. It runs apart 76% off the founding price, while it still holds. You read it, you keep it for good. And if the file will not open, or it is not what I just described, you email me within 7 days, and I make it right. The whole map is on your screen right now. Scan the code, or go to marcus.commonguides.com. Then let me show you how a cough this answerable goes 2 years without an answer. Because this is the part that took me the longest to make peace with, and it is not the story of one careless doctor. By the time a cough like this gets solved, it has usually walked past 4 good ones, each doing their job correctly. Picture that man again, the 2-year cough. He started where anyone would, with the lung doctor, because a cough feels like a lung. The chest film was clean, the breathing tests were fine, so he got the inhaler and the sensible advice, and from inside the lungs, that was the right and complete answer. 1 room, 1 clean window. The cough stayed, so he saw the allergist, who tested him and treated him for what looked like postnasal drip, one of the top causes of a lingering cough and worth checking. From where the allergist sat, the sinuses were the whole story. Another clean window, then his regular doctor, who had known him 15 years, working with 12 minutes in a full waiting room, read the clean lung notes and the treated allergies, and landed where the trail pointed. Probably a lingering post-viral thing. Give it time. Not lazy, following the map he was handed. And in none of those rooms did anyone ask about heartburn, because the man did not have any. The one clue that would have cracked the case open was invisible for the very reason that it was absent, so the silent reflux question never came up. 4 windows, 4 correct answers, and the cause sitting 1 floor below every one of them. Because the diaphragm is nobody's organ. The lung doctor owns the lungs. The allergist owns the sinuses. The stomach doctor owns the stomach. But nobody sent him there, because the cough did not look like a stomach. The muscle and its valve are the floor. All of those rooms are standing on, and a floor does not belong to anyone in the building. So it falls through the cracks between the specialties every day in clinics, each doing exactly what they were trained to do. And let me be clear, because this cohort is sharp and will smell it if I am not. No one is keeping this secret. It just falls between the desks. A system built in boxes, and a cough from the seam between 2 boxes does not fit neatly in any one of them. So now you know the suspect those windows kept missing. There it is again. The same knock, a different door. I am not going to hand you a breathing trick and call it a cure, because it is not one. And anybody who tells you a 60-second exercise fixes your reflux or your hernia has told you everything you need to know about them. What I am going to give you is better than a false promise. First, how to hold all 3 of these signs without losing a night of sleep over them. One sign on its own is almost certainly nothing, a body in its 50s or 60s doing ordinary things. But 2 or more, new and hanging on, the no heartburn cough, the worse lying down, the throat and the voice, that is the week to call your doctor. Not someday, not the year, the week. 1 sign is noise, 2, new and lingering, is a signal. And before anything else, the line I will not let you leave without. And if you ever have chest pain or chest tightness, if you suddenly cannot catch your breath, you do not finish this video and you do not call it reflux. You call 911. I cannot examine you through a screen, and neither can anyone who ever claimed they could. Let a real doctor rule out your heart and your lungs first, always. Everything I have told you today is a reason to get the right work up, never a reason to skip one. Now the part that changes your next visit. Write this one down. You sit across from your doctor, and you say 1 sentence. My cough has not cleared. I have never been a heartburn person, and it is worse when I lie down. Could silent reflux or even a hiatal hernia be part of this, and is it worth checking? That is the whole thing. You are not telling your doctor their job, and you are not demanding a test. You are doing the one thing the 4-window system cannot do on its own. You are connecting the rooms, and it is worth doing, because when reflux turns out to be the driver and a doctor confirms it, it very often responds well to that doctor's treatment. That is the whole reason getting it named matters. That is the doctor's call, never mine, and never a video's. But the question is yours now, for free, so use it either way. And if you want the exact version for each kind of doctor you might sit in front of, that is the 3rd guide, the one built to walk in with you. You walked into this video with a cough nobody could explain, and a quiet fear about what it might mean. You are walking out with 3 signs, 1 sentence to say in an exam room, and a calm reason to get it checked. That trade, a fear handed back to you as a question you can use, is the entire job here every single time. The knock was real all along. It was just coming from 1 floor below the room. Everyone kept checking, and now you know which door to point your own doctor at. If tonight was the first time anyone tied your cough to the valve under your heart instead of the lungs above it, the rest of that map is waiting for you. The complete library, all 3 guides and the 2 printable kits, $49.99. The founding price while it holds, yours to keep. Scan the code on your screen, or go to marcus.commonguides.com. In the next one, I am going to show you the single throat symptom that quietly does more damage to your voice than to your lungs, and why the people clearing their throat at the dinner table are almost always the last to find out why. So keep that little log by your bed, bring your 1 sentence, and we will keep checking the floor nobody else does.